So today we're going to take a look at MSTY, MSTR, and Bitcoin. And then we'll finish it off checking out a few of my swing trades. So today we're going to take a look at MSTY, MSTR, and Bitcoin. And MSTR actually had their earnings today after hours. And we'll take a quick look at the overview, whether it was good or not, and see what the stock did. And then we'll finish it off looking at a couple of the plays that I did do and a couple of trades I made. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the Webull chart. So here we are on MSTY, and as you can see here, there's the drop in that price. That is the distribution coming out of the stock, right? And that was at $1.18, I believe it was. Yes, $1.18 that came out of the price of the stock. The day before, we were sitting right there on that 2038, which was our original opening price, right? And now you can see we had a little bit of a green candle, and it's green because it closed higher than it opened on the day, right? For today, it actually opened at 1946. It went as low as 1931. It went as high as 1987 before closing at 1950. So overall, it went up 1.53%. But with that drop in the price, with the distribution coming out of it, that's why you see this drop in the candle here. Now that's what happens every single time that we get paid out a distribution. So that's nothing that's uncommon here. That happens every single time. But now you can see why I would like for that price to have been around that $22, because then dropping down that $1.18 could have kept it above that 2038. But that's okay. It has been down this low before. If we scroll on out, you can see we've been down here before, and we'll move back up above it, I'm sure, over time. At least that's my hope. So, is it a good buy point? Well, let's switch it over to the adjusted, and let's look at the Bollinger Band. So we'll go on ahead and flip this over to the adjusted chart here. There we go. And now let's turn on the Bollinger Band, and there we go. So we will move the chart over so we can get it all on the same screen here. And we are looking at the Bollinger Band here. This little blue line right here, that's the midpoint. The yellow line right here, that's the bottom of the Bollinger Band. So we are on that bottom half. Did it end up getting below the 10 today? Well, it actually moved up, right? Overall. But because of the price itself dropping down to 1950, I did end up buying a few shares. I ended up purchasing 5 shares at 1953, okay? Because of that price drop just in that distribution coming out of the price of the stock, right? So when we dropped out that $1.18 and it was below that $20, I told you I'd like it underneath that 20. So I went ahead and picked up 5 more shares at 1953. So when I said that I'm looking for that candle to be below the midpoint on the Bollinger Band and to be below that 10 on the RSI2, that is my points that I'm looking for. But I can also decide to make a buy anytime I want, right? And because of that price drop and the fact that it is at a $19.50 some cents, I couldn't pass that up. Now it could be coming on down further, and if so, maybe I'll buy a few more shares. But for now, I just couldn't pass that up, so I bought 5 shares at 1953. So let's take a look at MSTR and let's see what it looks like. Alright, so here we are looking at MSTR, and as you can see here in MSTR, we did end up with a green candle today, It ended up closing at 401.86. It looks like it opened at 399.13. It went as low as 397.08. Went as high as 410.81. And then, of course, closed at 401.86. Now, today, at the end of the market, was the earnings for Mr. or Strategy. And from what I could tell, looks like they had pretty good earnings. And let's just see on a quick little Google search to see what the overall reaction to the earnings report was. And here we are. And this is just a quick little search without getting too deep into anything, right? But it does look like overall the earnings had a very positive impression, right? So they reported a revenue of 114.5 million, which is exceeding the analysts' estimates. All right, so it looks like that the stock actually rose after hours following the release, but there were some, I guess you can say, negative reactions. And you can see right here in this last sentence where it says that investors and analysts remain mindful of the volatility associated with the MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings and the broader cryptocurrency market. So the fact that Strategy is very heavy in Bitcoin does give that volatility, and I guess still somewhat could worry some people, the fact that they're so heavy in Bitcoin, right? That could be looked at as a negative thing unless you have high expectations for Bitcoin. I think long term this is going to be just fine, and we're going to see this thing moving on up, right? So on a short term, they are seeing a little bit of a pullback, and we can look at that on the Webull chart here. And you can see after hours right here, it's 396, and then overnight 393. So it is having a bit of a pullback after hours, but again, that is after hours, right? We'll see if that is actually what happens once the market opens tomorrow. So we'll be patient and wait on that. But how much of that was actually from the Bitcoin pulling back? Because if you look here, we've got Bitcoin pulled back to 114, right? There we are. We're zoomed in on Bitcoin. As you can see, they had a massive red day, right? It dropped 3% on the day. We went from about 118 down to 114. But we are still, look, we are still within this same channel right here. We're still in that channel. Now, we dropped from past midpoint down to the bottom of it, right? But it is still within that channel. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Does it bounce off of this bottom support line and move back up? Or are we taking a bit of a cool down? So we'll just see how that works out. Now, I did say I made a couple trades today. And like I said, I did buy MSTY, right? I bought 5 shares of MSTY. But that IBM play that I did buy a couple days ago, I did end up buying another 2 shares at $254.30. And I can go to IBM here, and as you can see right there, I did end up buying 2 more shares at $254.30. So down here I bought, and over here I bought, right? So I've been buying, and it's just sitting down at this level right here. Now that puts my average purchase price on IBM to $255.90. Okay, so that's my average purchase price for the 4 shares I own currently for IBM. Another one that I did end up buying on my swing trade here was in Visa. And we'll take a look at that and show you why I got into Visa as well. Because as you can see, we are at the bottom of that Bollinger Band on Visa. And we look at that RSI 2. And you can see right over there that yellow number right here. If I hover over that last point, you can see it's at 3.65. So we are at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and we are below 10 on the RSI2. And we know Visa is a good long-term stock, so I don't have any issue buying Visa and not worried about it not going up over time, right? So I did buy 2 shares of Visa at 345.70. Okay, so I got it just a little above where it closed at today, and we'll see what tomorrow and the coming weeks will bring. If it stays down and it stays under that 10, I'll buy a few more shares of Visa and keep averaging down. And then eventually my hopes is that that candle will start moving up and then get above my moving average 5 here. And when it moves up above that moving average 5, which is that green line right here, then I can sell it at a small profit, right? And that's all I'm doing. I'm just getting little parts and pieces, right? Because if you look back here on say this candle right here, you can see that the RSI2 down here is at 9.56. So say I bought it right here at that close of 347.93, and then it would drop right here on another red day, and then say I bought a little bit more there as well, right? And then it just keeps on moving. I got a green candle. Now these here will be above my average, so I wouldn't necessarily be buying more at that point because I don't want to average up on these. I would prefer to average down. And at this point right here, now it has crossed that 5 and it closed above that 5. So I would look to see if I can set a stop on that MA5 and it be in profit. Okay, so next day, that candle here, when it closed at 351.86, I could possibly come back one day right here and on that MA5 set a 349.34 stop. And that's this green number right here for MA5. So I could set a stop at 349.34, and that would have been a nice position to put a stop on and keep it about a day or two in lag. So as this one here continues to move up, I could stay about a day or two behind it, but keep moving my stop up on that MA5. I'm staying a day behind it and I just keep moving it on up, right? Eventually it will come down and it will trigger me. But at that point, I'm hoping to have made a few bucks on the trade just over a period of maybe a week, right? So that's kind of the idea there. And I'll go into more detail as I'm going through this, but I just kind of doing a quick one right here just to show you what I did see and get into. And I'll be able to do a little bit better job once I get back into my regular office area. Since I am still on vacation here, I'm kind of working in between and I don't have all my equipment here. So I appreciate everybody for hanging with me and sticking around to see what my swing trades here are, and it is much appreciated. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. It'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.